Welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm going to share with you all of the best neighborhoods in Tucson according to yours truly. I've lived here my whole life, so I'm going to give you the inside scoop from a local's perspective. Let's jump in. Hey, I'm Rich, and if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about lifestyle, real estate, and new builds in Tucson, Arizona, and the surrounding area, then you have come to the right place. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, tap the little bell for notifications so you can be the very first to learn everything that you want to know. My family's lived in Tucson for over 200 years. It's the city that I know best and the city that I love the most. With over 15 years of experience as both a certified real estate appraiser and a real estate agent, I get calls and texts every day from people making a move, and I love it. So whether you're moving today or a year from today, let's get connected. All my contact information is below. You can call, text, email, or schedule a free Zoom consult. I'm happy to be a resource for you. All right, before we jump in, just a quick disclaimer. Now, this should be obvious for most of you guys, but this is my opinion. This is not like something that Google's gonna tell you which is the best neighborhood. This is just from my perspective, having lived in Tucson my entire life. I've lived all over the city, and in my 15 plus years in real estate, I have helped people buy, sell, invest, and appraised thousands of homes all over the city. And I've been in these neighborhoods many, many, many times. So this is just my take on it. If I had to pick a list of the best neighborhoods in Tucson, this is what it would be. The next thing that I wanted to mention is that this isn't price specific. So some of these neighborhoods are going to be at the higher prices, way above the average price in Tucson. And some of them are going to be right around the average price. So I'll do my best to kind of indicate which neighborhoods are going to be primarily more exclusive, and the price is going to reflect that, and which neighborhoods are going to be more affordable, and you can fixate on that. So up first is Central Tucson. Let's take a look at what neighborhoods I think are the best if you're shopping in Central Tucson. First up on the list is Sam Hughes. If you're familiar with Tucson, or if you're not familiar with Tucson, Sam Hughes is one of the most popular and sought after historic neighborhoods in the entire city. It has some really cool history. It's one of the founding neighborhoods where people, the elites used to live, pioneers of the time, way back when Tucson was a lot of dirt roads. So a lot of history in Sam Hughes, and it's kind of a mile by mile square. You can see it here. Prices in Sam Hughes tend to be a little bit higher than the average price in Tucson, so it's not exactly going to be one of the more affordable options. But if you're curious about what a historic neighborhood in Tucson looks like, you gotta check out Sam Hughes. There's so much cool stuff to check out in Sam Hughes, specifically the architecture of the homes. Every home in this neighborhood seems different, from different colors to different styles to different roof lines, different sizes, lots of different landscaping. One of the unique things about Sam Hughes is different colored doors and different colored windows. It's a little nuance that you'll want to check out. So Sam Hughes, definitely a central location that you'd want to check out. Now, next up is another historic neighborhood, and this is right next to Sam Hughes. It's called El Encanto Estates. Now that takes up this area right here, much smaller neighborhood in comparison to Sam Hughes. But what you are going to get here is the lot sizes of the homes here are much larger than typically what you're going to see in Sam Hughes. And they're more of like estates, definitely kind of more of an estate feel. You get more land. Typically, you're going to get larger homes. And the price points here in Central Tucson are some of the highest price points that you're going to find in Central Tucson. So again, just highlighting a neighborhood that is super cool. If this doesn't fit your category or price range, I totally get it. I'll make some other videos that cater specifically to different price ranges within Tucson and the best neighborhoods within each price range. So this is more of a general overlook. El Encanto, lots of historic properties in here. 2 stories, large, 3,000, 4,000, even up to 6,000 square feet. You've got close to half an acre to 3/4 acre lots right in the middle of the city. definitely an incredible neighborhood to put on your list if this kind of sounds like something that you're looking for. Now, next up, we're going to move a little bit further north. So here's Ellen Conto and Sam Hughes. We're going to go look at a neighborhood called Winter Haven. If you're not familiar with Winter Haven, there's a special thing that Winter Haven does every year, and that's around Christmas time. It is a long-standing tradition in Winter Haven to put on the best Christmas light show in the entire city. I mean, seriously, this whole area around the neighborhood becomes absolutely crazy in the month of December because people are drinking hot chocolate. They've brought their whole family. The entire neighborhood is lit up. I mean, I would say 95% or more of the houses have extensive Christmas lights set up. I mean, some of these homeowners go hard. So it's definitely something really cool. If you're not from the city, or if you are from the city, I'm sure you've probably heard of Winter Haven. But if you haven't, definitely check it out in the month of December. This neighborhood, older homes, 1960s, 70s. There are a couple new builds, but they're very, very rare in that neighborhood. It's predominantly an older neighborhood. Price range is going to be a little bit above the average price range. You can find stuff that's a little bit more affordable and caters to that average price range in Tucson, or maybe even slightly below. But beautiful neighborhood, lots of grass, big mature landscaping, trees. You know, it's a very vibrant neighborhood. And if you have Christmas spirit, Winter Haven is definitely a place to check out. All right, so next where I want to take you is West University. Now we're going to go back up towards the university here. And the University of Arizona is here on Speedway and Campbell. West University rests between University of Arizona and downtown. Now, the coolest thing about Western University is the location. If you're someone who really likes to walk to bars and restaurants, walk to some nightlife, just living in a neighborhood with a ton of things to do that you can walk, skateboard, rollerblade, bike to, West University is positioned perfect. Very, very historic. Lots of older homes in West University. They're not large, but price ranges vary. So you could definitely get something right around the average price in Tucson, maybe even slightly below if you're willing to do some work. But prices definitely soar upwards of $800,000 to $1 million as well. So you've got a wide range of prices there. And the location for West University is one of the main reasons that people want to live here. So next up on our list is arguably one of the most historic neighborhoods, and that is just south of West University, and it's called Armory Park. Now, this neighborhood has some of the coolest Victorian styled or craftsman styled homes. It's some of the most unique historic architecture in the entire city. And it is located right just south of downtown Tucson, which downtown Tucson in the last 10 or 15 years has absolutely blown up with commercial improvements. So hotels, student housing, restaurants, bars, nightlife, live music. There is so much to do downtown. So Armory Park, a lot of people that live down here really appreciate being able to walk to dinner and just be really close to all of the history in downtown Tucson, as well as all of the amenities and the nightlife of downtown as well. So Armory Park, worth a stroll through on foot. Take a bike, you can drive through and check out some of the architecture and you'll kind of see what I'm saying, but absolutely one of my favorite neighborhoods in central Tucson. All right, so next up, we're gonna jump east. We're gonna take a look at East Tucson. If I can figure out how to work this map. So we're gonna jump all the way east. And I'm gonna share with you some of my favorite neighborhoods in East Tucson. First up is gonna be Rita Ranch. Now, a lot of people really appreciate Rita Ranch, and I do specifically because of its convenience. You can access East Tucson, which has all of your shopping, restaurants, anything and everything, all the amenities you could possibly want. You're right next to national parks if you like hiking, biking, camping, and you're right off of I-10. So whether you're commuting to Phoenix to take a flight, whether you're commuting east-west on I-10, doesn't really matter. It's kind of positioned perfectly for anyone that's commuting. Now, Rita Ranch takes up this whole area, and there is a lot to offer in the neighborhood, from parks, picnic areas, basketball courts, sports facilities. It really is a neighborhood that's focused on accommodating really anyone, whether you have kids or whether you're just a single individual, but you've got a lot of different things built into the community that you can take advantage of. So next up on the east side is a neighborhood called Savano. Savano is located a little bit further north, and this is a much newer neighborhood than Rita Ranch. Rita Ranch really kind of hit its stride in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Savano was a little bit later, 2010 to 2000. They're still building in Savano. So there is quite a bit of newer construction here. And the community is just beautiful. It's kind of tucked away. Houghton Road is still a pretty easy commute, as you can see, all the way to I-10. You've got Fantasy Island Mountain Bike Park right here, which is cool. You've got easy access to everything on the east side, including all of those national forests and trails that I was talking about as well. So it's kind of off the beaten path if you're someone who appreciates the amenities but doesn't want to be right in the middle of the city. If you're looking in East Tucson, or if you're open to considering it, Savano is definitely an area that you're going to want to check out. Price points, you're probably slightly above average. Now, in general, any of these east side neighborhoods are probably going to be some of your more affordable options in comparison to Northwest Tucson, the Catalina Foothills areas. These are all areas that I'm going to cover, including some of the neighborhoods that I mentioned in Central Tucson. So Savano and Rita Ranch, probably some of your more affordable options for what you get. All right, so next up on the east side is the 49ers area. So let's take a glance down here. So just to kind of get oriented, Savano was here. 49ers Country Club Estates is over here. Much more of a rural feel. So if you really like to be off the beaten path, this is still not too far. You have grocery stores and everything that you need in this area. But this is a golf community. It's gated, so it's much more private. It definitely has more of an exclusive feel. You can get property that's right on the golf course if that's something that you're looking for. Price points are going to be a little bit higher than average, but not excessive. And overall, the homes located in 49ers Country Club are going to be a little bit older, probably 1970s on average. So another really cool neighborhood to check out. Close to this is Reddington Pass. So Reddington Pass Road, Tanque Verde turns into Reddington. Lots of hiking, off-roading, camping, all sorts of outdoor activities go on here. There's some really cool waterfalls in the rainy season that you can check out as well. So just wanted to highlight that for anyone who is an outdoors person like me. So last neighborhood I wanted to highlight in the east side of Tucson is called Bel Air Ranch Estate. So 49ers Country Club is where we were at here, pretty close in proximity. You're going to find larger parcels of land out here. So, it could be a third of an acre to a half or even a 3/4 of an acre. And you will find larger lots here. So if you want a little bit more space from your neighbor, if you plan on having, a large pool, or you want more space in your yard, this is definitely a good place to check out. Many of the homes are older. That's kind of going to be the theme with most of Tucson. But this is a really cool area to check out on the east side. Prices are going to be a little bit above average, but for the east side and what you get, it's definitely going to be one of my favorite neighborhoods that I want to highlight for you. Next up, we're going to jump to Northwest Tucson now. Northwest Tucson is one of the most fastest growing areas of Tucson. Northwest Tucson's kind of subjective, I suppose, how you define it, but you've got Oracle Road here, which is Highway 77, and then you've got I-10 here. Now, I would say that this whole area is really Northwest Tucson. When I refer to Northwest Tucson and we're talking with buyers that are looking generally in this area, this is the area that they're considering. So Northwest Tucson would encompass this whole area. We're not going to include Oro Valley. We're not going to include Dove Mountain, just because those are actually located. Marana is where Dove Mountain is located, and Rancho Vistoso and Oro Valley are two completely different cities as well. So I'm really going to be focused on this area. Now, At number one on the list in Northwest Tucson of one of my favorites is going to be Continental Ranch. Now, this is a huge community, lots and lots of homes to choose from. They do have grocery stores and a lot of conveniences built out here, gas stations, dentist's office, medical, all that sort of stuff out here. They've got several golf courses. Price points out here are going to be really, really good. And they range from even well below the average price in Tucson all the way probably to, $600,000-$700,000 for some of the homes in this area that are a little bit more unique. Now, this is a community that has quite a bit of things to offer in terms of amenities. So again, similar to what I mentioned in Rita Ranch on the east side, parks, pools, picnic areas, grass areas, athletic facilities. It's really got a lot to offer, whether you personally are taking advantage of that or whether you have a family and you want to be able to take advantage of that for you and the kids. So next up, we're going to take another glance over here in Northwest Tucson. This is called Casas Adobes. Now this takes up a pretty large area, but Casas Adobes has quite a bit of older ranch style homes, slump block construction or adobe block construction, which is very common, especially with the older homes, larger parcels of land. So you're probably going to be able to find anywhere between half an acre to even 1.5 acres of land that these homes are sitting on. So if you like more space and you want that feeling of kind of being in a suburban or rural area, but the convenience of having everything that you want only less than 10 minutes away, Casas Adobes is a great option. Honestly, probably less than 5 minutes away for most of the stuff because there is so much shopping, restaurants, things to do, hospitals, everything that you would want is just surrounding this area. So when you drive through some of these neighborhoods in Casas Adobes, they are very much off the beaten path feel because the sites are so much larger than many of the ones around it. Price points are going to be probably a little bit above the average in Tucson. And they do go way up. So you can get something that's double the average price in Tucson, but you can definitely find homes in Casas Adobes that are a little bit more affordable and much closer to the average price in Tucson. So next up, I'm going to take you a little bit further north in Northwest Tucson. Rancho Feliz is another neighborhood that has some incredible views and larger sites of land. Now, prices in Rancho Feliz are probably going to be a little bit more affordable in terms of what you get. I think that this is probably one of the bigger value areas to look at in Northwest Tucson if you're looking for something that has a little bit of a larger piece of land. You enjoy that ranch style home. You're looking for some views, maybe a pool. Homes aren't going to be huge in this area, but I think, with the average home in Tucson being around 1,800 square feet, generally those homes are going to be somewhere between 1,600 and maybe 2,500 square feet. So really cool neighborhood to check out, and definitely one of my favorites. Next up is Rancho Catalina. We're actually going to jump across Oracle Road. So we're going to jump east, Rancho Catalina. This is positioned right next to Coronado National Forest. This is the foothills of the Santa Catalina Mountains, which are the huge mountains in Tucson that you see from pretty much everywhere. And Rancho Catalina is positioned right at the foothills. So cool, very, very cool area. My grandma actually used to live in Rancho Catalina. I grew up going to her house several times a week, family Thanksgivings, family Christmases, family birthdays, swimming in the backyard with the pool, spending a lot of time walking around. It's an incredible neighborhood. And honestly, for the price of what you get, a little bit more seclusion from your neighbor, you're not right next to them. Most of the homes are right around 1,600 to 2,500 square feet, ranch style homes predominantly. And you can get really close to the average price in Tucson in these neighborhoods. They definitely can go higher because there are homes up in the foothills. The higher up this mountain, it doesn't show it here, but this is the start of a mountain. So the higher these go, the higher these homes are located and the better the view. Definitely a cool neighborhood to check out. One of the ones that if I was shopping in Northwest Tucson would absolutely be on my list. All right, so last up is the Catalina Foothills area. Now, this is a really exciting area if you are looking for more of an exclusive feel, because Catalina Foothills takes up this area here. So we were just talking about Northwest Tucson, and Catalina Foothills generally starts kind of Pima Canyon Estates, and it goes all the way down Sunrise, and it's pretty much all of this. Now, again, this is the Santa Catalina Mountains. They are huge, 9,000, almost 10,000 feet in elevation. They're massive mountains, and we've got some very bespoke properties. Some of the most exclusive neighborhoods in Tucson are located in the Catalina Foothills. So Catalina Foothills neighborhoods are not going to cater to the average price point. These are going to be much more exclusive neighborhoods if you're looking for that. Price ranges in Catalina Foothills can range from, say, 600,000 all the way up to 15 million. So there's not a whole lot of properties at that 15 million. We just don't have that much of a buyer demand in our market, but it is very common that you're in the $2, $3, $4 million price range for some of the homes right up against the foothills that overlook the entire city. One of my favorite neighborhoods is Pima Canyon Estates, and that kind of starts this Catalina Foothills area off. Now, Pima Canyon Estates is probably one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in Tucson. Large parcels of land, lots of topography because of where it's situated up against the mountains. But because of that, you have incredible views. The neighborhood just feels very exclusive, and it's all gated. Many of these communities are gated. There is a guard shack, and it's a manned 24/7 gate to get in. So Pima Canyon, if you're curious about what that has to offer, I might make a separate video on that, but feel free to leave a comment if you're curious about any of these neighborhoods. Pima Canyon is definitely one if you're shopping for Catalina Foothills and looking for something a little bit more bespoke. Definitely one to put on the list. Next is going to be Sin Vacas neighborhood, right next door to Pima Canyon Estates. Again, it's going to have a gated community. It's going to be right up against the foothills, and you've got quite a bit of homes that you can consider in Sin Vacas and Pima Canyon. So if you're in the area of one or the other, definitely take the jump over. And if you've got someone who can get you in the gate, like myself, then we can take a look at several homes in both of those areas. So next up on the list in Catalina Foothills is La Paloma. Now, La Paloma is actually one of the biggest resorts, the Westin La Paloma Resort here. That is a membership resort that you can become a part of. And La Paloma really covers this whole area here. Again, the topography in this area is very hilly, so most likely you're going to have some pretty incredible views from most of the lots that are available and most of the homes. In general, the homes in the Catalina Foothills area, as well as La Paloma, are larger homes. We're probably going to be looking at homes between 2,500 and 5,000 square feet. Certainly, there are homes much larger than that as well. But in general, the Catalina Foothills is going to offer homes that are typically around that 3,000 to 4,000 square feet. And so if you need a bigger home, and if that's something that you're really looking for, then these would be some great areas to consider. Now, also in this area is Catalina Foothills Estates. Now, this is off of Campbell Road. You can actually access it from Hacienda del Sol. And there is a neighborhood in this area called Cat 10, or referred to as Cat 10 for short. Catalina Foothills Estates, Catalina 10. And this area, there's just so many, you can't really tell, but all of these streets, the majority of them are on ridge lines. And so these homes are plotted on either side of this house or on either side of these streets, and they just have incredible views. So this neighborhood, again, it's a manned guarded gate. So very exclusive. There is an entrance here on Hacienda del Sol for that Cat 10 neighborhood, as well as on River. But Catalina Foothills Estates is definitely one of, if I was shopping in Catalina Foothills, one of my favorite neighborhoods. I've spent a lot of time doing both appraisal work And I have friends that live in that neighborhood as well. And every time I'm at their house, I always enjoy being able to kind of be in their neighborhood and check out what's going on, check out the surrounding real estate. So next up, I'm gonna go a little bit further into the foothills here in an area called Finisterre. Now, if you like views and you really want to feel like you've got views of Tucson right at your feet, this neighborhood here, Finisterre, is definitely one to check out. So it's tucked up right up against the Coronado National Forest and the Santa Catalina Mountains. You've got many large estates here. So you're gonna have plenty of privacy from your neighbor. You've got newer homes that are being built, new custom homes. You've got plenty of older homes to choose from if that's more your style. And in some of these areas, including Finisterre, you occasionally can find a vacant lot that is being sold. Now, generally speaking, any of the vacant lots that are owned, many of them are owned by developers that are already speccing out a custom home to be built. So if that's something you're looking at, we could partner with a builder that already has a floor plan that you like and can help make that process a lot easier. But ultimately, there are several different options to choose from in Finisterre. All right, and the last location up on our list is the Ventana Canyon Mountain Estates. Now, this takes up this whole area. Ventana Canyon really takes up this whole area, and it's up against the Catalina foothills. Incredible views, very exclusive area. They have some incredible golf there. One of the probably most renowned golf courses in the area in Tucson. You've got some great hiking trails right off the back. They have a really cool resort at Ventana Canyon as well that is open to the public. And there's a waterfall, actually, believe it or not. In the desert, there's a waterfall you can walk to from the resort. It's probably 0.2 of a mile past the pool in the resort. And they've got directions up this little walking path. And it's water runoff that comes off of the Santa Catalina Mountains. So pretty cool area to check out. Lots of different architecture in terms of homes. You got a lot of modern homes. Again, as I've mentioned with several of these neighborhoods, these homes in Ventana Canyon are going to be fairly large. Now, the lots, because this is such a hilly area, specifically in Ventana Canyon, you might get these large lots, maybe an acre or more, but not much of the lot is going to be buildable. It'll be enough for your driveway and your garage and your house. But many of the homes in Ventana Canyon may have incredible views, and because they're up on a hill, there might be some yard space that is sacrificed. But that can be the case with many of the neighborhoods that I've mentioned in the Catalina Foothills area. So not necessarily a dig on this neighborhood, but beautiful area. If you're considering Catalina Foothills, definitely one to put on the list. There you have it. There's all the best neighborhoods in Tucson according to a local. And if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button to support us in the channel and subscribe so that you can be the first to know about more videos. As is tradition, I like to end these videos with a little bit of inspiration, and this one is just a reminder. Life is hard for two reasons: because you are leaving your comfort zone or you are staying in it. I know for myself, that's definitely a reminder that I have to kind of run through my head every so often, and getting out of your comfort zone is definitely important. That's where all the growth happens, right? So just a reminder. And last thing to remember, whether you're moving in today or a year from today, reach out so we can get connected. Until next time, we hope to see you around the neighborhood.